Hey guys, it's Chieftain Susie here. Welcome to another tutorial. This time we're going to go over Magery Inscription. I'll show you some of the ins and outs, and I'll also go over how to be prepared. If you notice inside of my backpack here, you'll see some logs, ink, and various parchments. Parchments you'll most often hear to them referred to as P1, P2, and P3. You need one of each type in order to make the different types of spells that you'll see in the system. I know that it can get frustrating sometimes making a lot of parchments, so what I recommend to people is they take their Tyrese relics and go to the relic stand and actually use some of those relics to help offset the time that it takes to make all these parchments. Bear with me while I get to the relic stand so I can show you. Okay, here we are at the relic stand. To activate the relic stand, all you have to do is click on it, and you'll see a menu here. This little arrow is what you're going to want to click. At the current time, this is the way this is laid out. You can see right here, all it takes is 5 relics for 20 P1. So we're going to go ahead and click the corresponding number, which is 8. And then it'll ask for confirmation. Are you sure you want to do this? Of course. And in local chat, you'll also see a confirmation here of what you just spent, and you should see them shortly added to your total. Okay, and now that we're back at Hordland, obviously you need some ink. So either you can get some from a Good Samaritan or your overlord if they are that type of overlord, or you can go ahead and level up your herbalism and collect the necessary ingredients. Per each individual ink, it's going to be 2 nightshades and 1 mandrake root. And how to make ink, you'll have to use an alchemy table. This right here is an alchemy table. This is actually an angelic alchemy table, but that's okay because it still works for demons too. So in order to use it, you're just gonna have to click on it, and as you can see here, you choose ink, and then you just wait till it's finished. And again, it's 2 nightshade, 1 mandrake per each one. Okay, as you can see, I don't actually have those ingredients, but it does not matter because I already have all my ink here. I'm going to make a controversial recommendation right now that people are probably going to guffaw at, but trust me, in the long run, this is going to work out to your benefit. I have never ever heard another person explain this way, but I feel it's I'm explaining it enough nowadays that I think that I should put it in the tutorial. So here's what I recommend to people. Most people, when they start, they get elixirs and they go gung-ho and they start using elixir as they're creating these, or they start creating these spells, these, we'll call them tier 1 spells. They're called circle 1, but tier 1 spells, and they use elixir. You will find later that if you do this, you will eventually have your inscription so high that it's going to far outlevel your magery, and you will have a problem because you're going to have to continuously make spells and your inscription will not go up until you've casted them. So my best recommendation is when you first go to sit down and make these spells, you do not use an elixir. You're going to want to make anywhere from 200 to 300 of these. And once you have that done, that's when you're going to want to use your elixir. You'll just take, go ahead, take your elixir and your spells. Cure spells can be casted on yourself, and they can be casted in safe zones where we're at. And you can even cast them if you're going to hell, or, in commons, or wherever you choose to be. So what I recommend is that you make all these spells, and you stock up between 200 and 300, and then when you go ahead, you get to another skill, you use an elixir, and then you proceed to level up your magery this way. Doing this, it will help you offset the problem in which your inscription will be stagnant from being too high a level. I think the official percentage that most people say is 10%, but I believe it's more like 20 or 25-ish. But this has been a problem that almost every single solitary minion that I've ever had has encountered, and I've found a way to go around it so you don't have to. The one thing that a lot of people don't know is that if you actually had spells without inscription, you could actually level your Magery technically up to 100% without ever leveling your inscription at all. Of course, this is probably rare, but if you have an overlord that's absolutely amazing, they could always make your spells for you and mail them to you in the mailbox, and you could use your elixir and just straight level through that without doing inscription. Although, because you're going to want to be your own person, you're probably going to want to do inscription anyways. So you just keep making these here and get your stock up, and then when you've got your stock, you're ready to cast and use your elixir. So I went ahead and made a few, and as you can see, I'm going up 0.1% each time. I do not have an elixir active. If I did, you'd see it right here. And at this point, I'm not having any trouble leveling my inscription. So it works out in the end. Okay, and for the sake of example, I've made my way to a mine and I'm now mining. I'm going to activate this elixir and I'm going to start casting. You see your spell has fizzled. That happens a lot. I would fully expect it. You can help offset this by having Magery rings on. So if you haven't done jewel crafting yet and you have a pretty good overlord, they'll probably give you some lunar steel, less fizzle on casting rings that are imbued nicely, and you can use those to help. But see, as you can see, all it takes is you just have to cast. You don't even have to target anybody or anything else, but the elixir is actually active and your Magery is getting leveled. And if Magery itself out-levels inscription by far, this is not an issue. This is a good thing. Most people can't get Magery to out-level inscription because they use elixir for both. But doing it this way, it wouldn't matter if you hit your 100% goal first with Magery. You could just go back and then implement using elixir to catch up with the inscription if you're that far behind. There's also another point, percentage-wise. When you level up to a certain percentage, some people are avid users of Cure up until 98%. Some people choose to implement tier 2 spells, which are these, like Incognito, Protection. I would say it's personal choice. You can do it either way. It's like what you use making the P2s, you may have used anyways casting Cure incessantly, so it's on personal preference at this point. I would say it doesn't matter which one you use because either way you're going to get there. So you can cast those, you can cast these, and they'll all count. Now it may look like when it's fizzling as if you're not quote-unquote getting anywhere, but trust me, you will. Just keep at it. If you're an overlord and you have a minion and you run into the same issue where the minion's like, why is my inscription not going up? I would just say that no matter what percentage they're at, you can implement my method to leveling up Magery, and it will help them catch up rapidly. Tell them not to use elixir on inscription, only on Magery up until Magery's at 100%, and then begin to use the elixir. This pretty much solves that dilemma, and then you don't have to deal with it anymore. As far as why, I don't know why. It's done that way. It just is. You could also select a member of your same species and target them with using the little pumpkin up here. Normally this is just a scope looking thing, but now it's a pumpkin. And you can cast the cure spell on them as well. Although I don't think this step is necessary. I guess it's personal preference if you'd like to, bug one of your friends or something. But as you can see here, even though the spell fizzled, the Magery still increased. So you are making progress regardless of fails. Anyhow, that pretty much concludes the tutorial about Magery and Inscription. I hope this was helpful. If you have any further questions, you should probably follow up using your chain of command. Start with your overlord and ask them. And as always, thank you for watching.